Batman Arkham Origins is an interesting game in this series. It is the one game in the main Arkham series that isn't developed by Rocksteady. The game exists because WB wanted to keep the Arkham money coming in, but it isn't included in any of the Arkham Collections, and really, no one talks about this game. Even I, someone who played this game originally at launch, before replaying the game for this video, I couldn't remember anything about the game. Was it good? Was it bad? I had no idea. And really that's why Origins, out of all of the Arkham games, was the one I was most looking forward to revisiting. So what do I think about the game now? I really enjoyed it. In fact, I'd go as far as to say I think the game is a little underrated, but I'll go over why I think this is over the course of this video. Now I'm going to try something different with this retrospective, and instead of separating the story and the gameplay, I'll be going over the main story game, then the side content, and finally the DLC Cold Heart. I won't be going over every encounter or how the basic Arkham gameplay works in this video, instead going over the improvements and changes. But if you'd like to hear my thoughts on the core of the Arkham gameplay loop, and this is your first video you're watching of mine, I have two videos on Asylum and City that I would recommend you check out. Also, yes, I know this game did have a multiplayer component at launch, but obviously this is it today, so I won't be covering it in this retrospective. But now that you know what to expect, sit back, relax, and let's continue this series of Arkham retrospectives and talk about Batman Arkham Origins. Batman Arkham Origins is set 5 years before the events of Arkham Asylum. Bruce Wayne is only 2 years into his career as the Batman, and in fact, the police, the criminals, and the general public are unsure if Batman even exists. Is he a vigilante? Is he a myth? Is he a supernatural being? No one knows for sure at this point in the Arkham series. The game begins on Christmas Eve as Batman heads to Blackgate Prison to attempt to stop a jailbreak led by Black Mask. It's at the first enemy encounter we truly get to see how much Batman is being talked about and how seriously he's being taken right here, as the thug believes his soon-to-be victim is trying to buy himself some time.
What is that? Behind you!
Oh, come on. Expect me to fall for that? I mean, try something original. What the hell?
This attitude and disbelief is only further proven as Batman fights off thugs as Vicky Vale is in the room, and it's the feeling of being larger than life, too good to be true, that is a really interesting direction to start the game off with. We continue through the prison learning that Police Commissioner Loeb is corrupt, being paid off by Black Mask, who isn't happy that his men are still sent to Blackgate, and finally track down Black Mask, who executes the Commissioner in a gas chamber as Batman is too late to save him. Batman keeps pursuing Black Mask to the rooftop of the prison, where he escapes via helicopter, but before Batman can continue to pursue him, is stopped by a hired assassin known as Killer Croc. This fight is a pretty good first fight. You don't want it to be too difficult, but Croc does present a decent enough fight as you need to stun him as he picks up explosive canisters, eventually whittling down his health. After defeating Croc, he reveals that he is just one of 8 assassins going after the $50 million bounty Black Mask has placed on Batman's head, and using a drone memory card he had found in the prison, goes back to the Batcave to learn who is after his life, learning that the assassins remaining are Deathstroke, Firefly, Copperhead, Deadshot, Electrocutioner, Shiva, and Bane, who all get flashy but short introductions to who they are, which I really enjoyed. It gives enough information as to who these killers are and what they're about without overdoing it. It's just a shame that some of these deadly assassins are, well, not very deadly. But I'll get into that soon. Batman returns to Gotham via the Batwing, which is used really well in Origins as a way to fast travel from point to point. I really like this addition as Gotham, for the most part, is just Arkham City, before well, Arkham City. We are revisiting many locations we've already seen, so having the ability to now fast travel between locations just makes the map feel a little less repetitive and obviously a bit more of a time saver. Batman believes he can track down where Black Mask has gone by finding the Penguin at a docked ship, which as we enter find the Electrocutioner ready for battle, only to take him out with a double tap of the A button. Wait, what?
Excuse me, what?
Unfortunately, a few of the assassins, well, they're not very deadly, and honestly, I mean, how did he even get the call up? That was pathetic. We do find out later that he has escaped after this embarrassment though, so maybe he'll be back for round 2? Anyway, after defeating the Electrocutioner with one evade and facing off against many of Penguin's goons, we find Penguin interrogating Alberto Falcone, trying to ensure his monopoly of the weapons business in Gotham, before Batman rudely interrupts to get some answers from Penguin on the whereabouts of Black Mask, learning about a murder in Lacey Towers that might be relevant before Batman is caught by Deathstroke, meaning we have now encountered 3 of the 8 assassins, an hour into the game. The Deathstroke fight is great though. It did take me a little bit to get down what he was about, needing to focus more on counters and really trying to enrage him enough to make mistakes, and it feels like a fight Deathstroke and Batman would have, as Deathstroke is no joke, and the fight here does capture that feeling. The fight ending with Batman distracting Deathstroke and smashing his head into the grip of his sword. I mean, that just feels good. After this, we obtain what is essentially the prototype of the line launcher, known here as the remote claw. It's not as free as the line launcher, you can only attach it to certain points, but in terms of gameplay, I used it so much more, especially in stealth sections where you can fire the claw at 2 enemies to knock them both out, or attach an enemy to a fire extinguisher. I used it a lot more than a line launcher, and if I'm being honest, it has a bit of a Just Cause vibe, which I'm totally okay with. As Batman leaves the Penguin's ship, Alfred informs us that the murder scene at Lacey Towers is reported to be Black Mask. So as we infiltrate the murder scene, we get to use another great improvement in the crime scene / detective mode. It's very simple, but instead of searching for one aspect and following a determined lead from there, we actually get to go through a scene and learn exactly what happened, and by rewinding and fast forwarding through certain events, get to progress to find more relevant clues. It makes these encounters more engaging than just simply walking up to a dead body and scanning them once to progress, and was yet another improvement to the gameplay I had a lot of fun with. But at the murder scene, we learned that the body is not Black Mask, and that a mysterious and unknown to Batman at this point criminal called the Joker was at the scene. Batman needs more information to find where Black Mask is, and the only way to get said information is to break into the GCPD to access the National Criminal Database. It's here in the Gotham Police Department that I truly felt something new in this series in terms of combat and stealth. It is the same combat and stealth setups, but against police officers, seemingly regular people just doing their jobs, a fact Alfred does remind Batman of throughout the police station.
Must you be so brutal, sir? These are city employees.
They're as corrupt as they come, and they're in my way.
I wish you'd think twice about that approach, sir. You never know when you might need their help.
But as we explore and try and access the database, we do get to hear the corruption within. Hear many of the cops talking about getting the $50 million reward for themselves. It creates a really unique dynamic, as we have and will see throughout this story that most of the police department are not on Batman's side. But once Batman gets to the server room, finds Barbara Gordon already there, who is more than willing to help the Dark Knight in getting access to the database, telling him that to access the database remotely, he'll need to go to the sewers underneath the police station to get the access he needs. The server room gets flooded with tear gas as Batman flees, but before he can escape is stopped by Captain James Gordon. SWAT then begins to corner Batman before trying to get a bit too trigger happy. I mean, they do want 50 mil. And Batman uses a smoke pellet to escape and head down to the sewers. In the sewers we find Black Mask thugs setting up explosives and are introduced to a new enemy type, the martial artist. These guys will ruin combos and because of this are not my friend, but as an enemy do keep you on your toes because they can fake you out. You need to double counter their attacks, but they aren't unfair, especially later on when you realize as long as you can get a 5 combo going and knock them down, you can instant KO them with a Batarang, which feels good to disrespect them like that, I won't lie. After progressing further into the sewers, we find the database and finally learn that the Joker has kidnapped Black Mask in hopes of using him to access the Gotham bank, in what I might add was a super stylish way to show the crime scene all coming together. Batman goes to the bank and finds Black Mask and his goons breaking into a vault, only to have it revealed that, drumroll please, the Joker was Black Mask this whole time.
Whoa, that's a genuinely shocking fact.
Okay, this twist you can see coming a mile away, even in the prison where Black Mask talks, but all I can hear is Troy Baker. And I know this twist, whether you saw it coming or not, did disappoint a few fans wanting a break from Batman and Joker, which I understand. But Joker did kinda need a decent role in this game to set up the connection in the rest of the games. But here in Origins, the Joker is introduced really well. I mean, he's insane. The way he beats up Sionis is brutal, and the effects of his famous toxin are put on display so damn well after the Joker escapes and the vault explodes, only to have Batman wake up to this.
What is that? What the fuck even is this?
Yeah, this was something I didn't expect, but even when the experience was all said and done, this was a moment that really did stick with me. It caught me off guard. Really off guard. Okay, get it out of here. Batman tracks Joker to the Sionis steel mill, where we free Black Mask, but whilst trying to find out where the Joker has gone, Batman is attacked by Copperhead, and Black Mask escapes. During the scuffle, Copperhead manages to poison Batman, leaving him with minutes left to live, with Alfred synthesizing an antidote and needing Bruce to get to its drop point. Being on the brink of death, Batman begins to hallucinate, and much like the Scarecrow encounters from Asylum, the poison hallucinations show us an insight into Batman's psyche, seeing Alfred criticize what he's doing, to Commissioner Loeb saying he should still be alive, to even...
I'm scared, I'm moving on.
the even creepier bank manager. These moments help show us why Batman needs to save everyone he can, because the ones he can't will continue to haunt him, and I loved that. We finally reach the drop point, but the antidote isn't there yet, and we face off against Copperhead in what is one of my favourite fights of the game. Batman mustering what strength he has left, but also trying to fight the hallucinations to actually fight Copperhead. Again, it isn't the most challenging fight, but the arena mixed with the guess which one is the real one is a good time, and makes Copperhead feel like a deadly assassin. Unfortunately for Copperhead, once Batman's antidote arrives, yeah, this happens.
You think you're cured? My poison is still in your veins and it will remain there as long as you live, which won't be very long.
And Batman tracks the Joker down to the Gotham Royal Hotel. After accessing the hotel's security feed, we get to see the Joker meeting with the remaining assassins.
We are really gonna have to turn this around.
Mate, you got beaten by 2 button taps. Take this job a little seriously.
So do you have anything else to contribute? I didn't think so.
Oh, Now he was officially the worst. The Joker is unhappy that the assassins haven't killed Batman yet, and sends the assassins off to continue their work, except for Bane, who believes Batman is coming for the Joker, so remains in the hotel. Batman retrieves the electrocutioner's gloves, which are easily one of Batman's best gadgets in the whole series. They feel great to use, and not having to stun certain enemies and just attack really does help get insanely gratifying combos. At least he was useful for something. Batman goes through the hotel, freeing captured hotel employees and making his way up to Joker, trying to stop a bomb from detonating, only to have it explode, leaving a news helicopter to capture live footage of Batman, now informing the public of his existence. And the gameplay from this perspective was really innovative and made a regular encounter with standard thugs truly interesting. As Batman arrives at the penthouse, he is taken by Bane and thrown in a room with Joker, who blows a random building, angering Batman, and before Joker can blow up another, Batman stops him, before being stopped himself by Bane, leaving a fight to ensue, ending up on the rooftops. The Bane fight plays out similarly to Croc's fight. You need to avoid Bane while he is venomed up, as he packs a serious punch and slowly drain his venom. This fight is also pretty challenging with the mix of normal enemies, and it does feel like a David and Goliath fight, like it should. Alfred is even so worried for Bruce that he calls the police to assist, but Bane manages to escape via helicopter, but not before Batman can place a tracker on him. Joker, not happy that Bane is just leaving without killing Batman, fires at Bane's chopper, and in retaliation, Bane fires a rocket that sends the Joker hurtling to his death, only to be saved by Batman, leaving us with one of the best scenes in the game.
Now why? Why would you do that? Newsflash! I'm the one who's trying to kill you!
Seeing the Joker so baffled by Batman's choice, yet clearly intrigued, is something special, and to have Batman questioned by Joker was really interesting. Batman and Joker are cornered by police before Batman escapes on the Batwing, leaving the Joker for the police, being sent to Blackgate, where we see him meet Dr. Harleen Quinzel, getting an insight into Joker's mind, even getting to play as the Joker, which was a great break as he monologues through, revealing his intrigue with Batman and how he believes they were destined to meet, which Harleen takes as if he's talking about her, revealing that interest in Joker from the first meeting. This moment and insight into the Joker was great. We even get to see Joker as the Red Hood, which is just walking around his own madness, but from an aesthetic point of view, just was an incredible section that again really stood out when it was all said and done. When we return to Batman, we see him questioning himself. Why would he save the man that is causing the city and himself so much trouble? Reliving the death of his parents and the moment that started it all, before Alfred snaps him out of it. And it's here we do get a really good scene between Alfred and Bruce. Alfred pleading with Bruce to stop for the night, fearing he will only lead himself to his own demise, but Bruce refusing. It's moments like these that are explored more in the Batman movies, but hasn't really been explored in the Arkham series yet. And I think Origins, being so early on in his career, did make for the perfect moment of doubt in Alfred and genuine concern, which was a great touch. Batman returns to Gotham, tracking Bane's tracker to the Gotham PD morgue, which he learns from an autopsy, well, it isn't Bane, but also that the victim had been injected with a stronger venom that is yet to be perfected, causing the user to have limited brain function and memory loss. And after tracking down Bane's lair, learning Bane is trying to increase the strength of venom but eliminate these memory-based side effects, as we learn that Bane knows the true identity Batman. Batman destroys this information and warns Alfred that Bane may attack the mansion, but before he can leave to return to the mansion, Firefly has taken hostages on the bridge and armed it with bombs, leaving Batman to postpone his trip back home to apprehend Firefly. To protect the hostages, Batman uses the Batwing to distract Firefly so he can get to the bombs and hostages without risk of detonation, but realizes he needs the help of Gordon if he is going to get all the bombs. However, they both are not budging, Gordon believing the police can do this alone, and Batman believing the police need to get out of his way and let him do it all. Batman manages to disarm 3 of the 4 bombs before Firefly manages to find Batman, leaving the grandest scale fight in the series, but not a great fight in terms of gameplay. Firefly really involves using glue grenades and batarangs until you can use the Batclaw to draw him closer and deliver a big schmeck. He does have attacks you do need to dodge, but if you're quick enough with the glue grenades, you can just spam him into defeat. But man, this fight visually and to experience is amazing. Even just traversing the destroyed bridge and the utter chaos that Firefly has caused made it a good time regardless of challenge, and seeing Firefly try and detonate the last bomb only to have nothing happen, meaning Gordon and the police disarmed the last one, does show that beginning of trust between the police and Batman in a natural way. As predicted though, while Batman was distracted with Firefly, Bane attacked Wayne Manor, leaving it destroyed and Alfred underneath the rubble, only to find him as he dies, a scene that holds true emotion.
Alfred, you can't.
Don't add me to the weight you carry.
I mean, this is a classic Alfred emotional moment, but of course, I mean, he is in the later games. Batman manages to revive him with the shock gloves, and by the next scene is back and ready to help finish off this game. For a scene with so much weight and great moments, I would have liked Alfred to at least be, you know, AFK for a bit. I know he has to be okay as this is an origin story where we know who is alive later on, but that doesn't mean he couldn't have been left wounded and Batman to face the endgame alone. While this has all been happening though, the Joker has taken over Blackgate after inciting a riot, leaving Batman to realize he needs allies. He cannot face this threat alone and works with Gordon and the police to start retaking the prison. And this is where I made a big mistake while recording and, well, forgot to press record. So I apologize if the quality is lesser and the skill may not be as pristine as yours truly, but this is the best I can do without replaying the game again. Anyway, Batman traverses the prison only to finally come across the Joker, who has hooked himself up to an electric chair that will go off the longer Bane lives, leaving Batman with a choice to either kill Bane or let Bane live long enough to kill Joker, leaving Batman to fight Bane again. This fight plays out essentially the same way, and Batman defeats Bane and stops his heart with the electric gloves, and the Joker happy that he forced Batman to kill, and leaving as he heads off to blow up more buildings in Gotham. Batman revives Bane, which as he wakes up injects himself with the extra strength venom that transforms him into the massive, veiny ballsack of a man, leaving Batman to yet again fight Bane. This fight, however, because Bane is so strong, forces Batman to stealth attack Bane, and as a fight was incredibly tense as Bane destroys many ways Batman can attack him. Batman eventually gets the upper hand and traps Bane, which now because of the serum does not remember Batman's true identity. Again, this is an origin story and he doesn't know this information later. So it was a storyline I expected to conclude in this game, but was nevertheless interesting. With the help of Gordon, Batman tracks Joker down to the prison chapel, in disbelief that Bane is still alive, and trying to coax Batman into killing him instead. But Batman decides to beat on him harder than I beat my own dick instead. And yet again, captures the Joker for the police. Gordon decides to let Batman leave, feeling he may be good for the city after all. During the credits, we hear a radio interview with Quincy Sharp announcing the reopening of Arkham Asylum, and post-credits, we see Deathstroke approached by Amanda Walker and handed documents for a unit known as the Suicide Squad. And that is the main campaign for Batman Arkham Origins. Is this the best story in the series? No. Is the threat of the 8 assassins overblown? Yes. But is the story and the main game here in Arkham Origins worth your time and a blast to experience? 100%. This game does a great job at setting up and expanding the Arkham mythos. The bosses on the whole are a good time, the memorable moments throughout are, well, just that, memorable. But it's the game's aesthetics that truly set it apart. The character designs are gritty, dark, and honestly, just badass. And the world of Gotham City feels miserable to live in, with the corruption and thugs that really adds to the game's tone. And I think Troy Baker as the Joker absolutely nailed it. But I mean, I expected nothing less. I mean, come on, it's Troy Baker. The gameplay improvements may have been minor, not many new gadgets to really talk about, but actually playing the game, going from sector to sector, fast traveling and dropping into Gotham, it makes it a joy to beat Batman. However, something you may have noticed is I didn't talk about all 8 assassins. Well, that leads me on to the game's side content.
Welcome to Wonderland, Batman.
Unfortunately, the game's side content is pretty hit and miss. When it succeeds, it's incredible, and by far the biggest highlight was yet again the Mad Hatter encounter. I mean, goddamn, it's good. Luring Batman in as he has captured a girl named Alice and manages to drag Batman down into Wonderland, and it is spectacular. It plays out much like the Scarecrow encounters, but it is a good length, and as Wonderland is, it's crazy and wacky, and honestly a joy to be in. And seeing the distress from Alice after freeing her from Hatter was something that made it all feel so damn dark. Is it weird that I loved every minute of it? A great evolution I thought was the Riddler's involvement. Again, like Arkham City, I did not 100% the game and go for all the Riddler data packs and servers, but it was refreshing not going after trophies and instead going after information and access to fast travel points. I would have liked, well, some actual riddles, but in terms of being a breath of fresh air, it was good to have something different to go after. Unfortunately, many other side objectives like the murder scenes or blowing up containers end up getting a little too repetitive and aren't all that interesting to go after, but 1 or 2 can be a fun distraction here and there. Anarchy as well, for as big as these threats are, is a very quick and easy side story that isn't all that interesting to me. But when it comes to the optional assassins, I mean, I didn't even know I defeated Shiva until I checked the most wanted listings. And yeah, it said this encounter was the end of her.
Skilled, honorable, devoted. I see now why the Master has chosen you. It seems we have both learned something today.
I don't care about you or your master. I'm bringing you in.
No, you're not. But you have earned a reprieve. I hope in time you come to realize how wrong you are about Gotham. It is not meant to be saved. It cannot be saved. Only cleansed. And from the ashes, reborn.
But Deadshot was the real letdown. Now, I did play this on the PC, and for the most part didn't have much trouble running the game. I mean, yeah, the game's physics are a little wonky from time to time, but overall it was smooth sailing, until I got to Deadshot. First off, as a fight, he relies on his thugs being the bigger threat than himself, and constantly gets more the further the fight goes on. But then this happened.
There's the stuff. Ha! You think that crap? No, he decided I'm starting to enjoy this. Ha! There's the son of a bitch. No, he decided to show after all. Ha! There's the son of a bitch! No, he decided to show after all.
And the fight just wasn't good enough for me to really care about completing, so yeah, this moment here was the end of my time with the main game. Kind of a letdown, I like Deadshot. But we aren't done with Origins yet. So let's talk about the DLC content that before this video I had not experienced in Cold Heart. Cold Heart begins on New Year's Eve for a New Year's Eve ceremony held at Wayne Manor. As the guests are about to celebrate, the party is interrupted by a massive ice explosion that knocks the guests off their feet as Penguin's henchmen enter, and behind them, a mysterious mechanical man armed with a freeze cannon demands to see Ferris Boyle, an award winner that night, and seemingly good guy. As Bruce fends off Penguin's goons and helps Alfred, we get to see some very weird talking animations. Why do they talk with their lips so much? It's making me feel weird.
What the fuck was that?
Alfred watches over the guests as Bruce goes to the Batcave to get suited up as Batman to fight this new threat, as he learns the man in the suit is known as Mr. Freeze.
What the hell are you?
I know, big shocker. Alfred recommends donning the XC suit, but it's not ready yet, and instead, for now, dons the classic bat suit. The thugs begin torching the mansion as Alfred and the other guests are captured, forcing Batman to save them. Batman attempts to rescue Ferris, but ends up being frozen by Freeze, but just with enough to hold him off momentarily, as Mr. Freeze has no beef with Batman. Freeze kidnaps Ferris and escapes Wayne Manor, leaving Batman to interrogate Penguin's men to learn where he's gone. After returning to Gotham, Batman tracks a man using a cryogun and interrogates him to learn that Penguin made a deal with Freeze to steal cryogenic weapons from GothCorp in exchange for Penguin to help kidnap Ferris. However, to Batman's knowledge, GothCorp doesn't produce weapons and heads there to learn more. When finally catching up with Freeze, Penguin has taken Ferris hostage and betrayed Freeze as he wants the weapons he'd been promised. As Batman intervenes, freezes everyone, including Penguin, now blocking the entrance to go after Freeze without special equipment. As Batman goes through Gotham searching for and acquiring drill components Penguin's men are selling off, the XC suit is finally ready for field testing and is airdropped off. And it is badass. Batman looks like he is in a small Hulkbuster, and it feels that way too. After gathering the drill components, Batman just needs a super-cooled fluid only found in Victor Freeze's lab at GothCorp. It's here we learn that Freeze was trying to help his wife Nora, who is in cryostasis as she has a deadly disease, and in exchange for secretly developing weapons for GothCorp, Boyle let Freeze have the resources to develop a cure. Freeze learned Boyle never intended to uphold his end of the deal though, and decided to try and find a cure himself, which Ferris didn't like, and removed Nora to another section, and after Ferris assaults Victor, an accident occurs with the weapon and causes an explosion of the superfluid that affects Freeze and a guard that ends up dying after being exposed to normal temperatures, making Freeze realize he needs to be in sub-zero environments and develops his iconic suit. Batman, learning Freeze only intended to save his wife, tells Alfred to inform the Gotham PD about Ferris Boyle's crimes, as Batman returns to the ice wall to finally break through. Batman finds Freeze trying to make Boyle release Nora, which he refuses, and Batman attempts to reason with Freeze, telling him Boyle will pay for his crimes, which he does not care about, and then the fight ensues. Now this battle with Freeze isn't as good as the one in City. Unfortunately, it plays more like a regular stealth encounter and involves Batman using the ice above to do good damage to Freeze. As Batman subdues Freeze, Boyle uses a cryogas which freezes Batman, and Boyle, believing him to be dead, thinks he can make up any story he wants to the police and begins to beat on Freeze as he watches his wife begin to die. But Batman manages to escape and subdue Boyle, proceeding to save both Freeze and his wife Nora's life. And that is Cold Cold Heart. Now obviously I cut out a bit of content in regards to gameplay, but unfortunately that is the DLC's weakest point. It is a lot of fetching missions and returning to the same points, and it can get tedious after a while. But the introduction to Freeze and Batman's relationship is an interesting one. Seeing Freeze as someone who just wants to help his wife and a crazy accident making him the man he now has to be. Really, this DLC is just an excuse to let me play more of Origins, which is what I wanted. But I wouldn't say you'd be missing out on much if you never played this DLC. It's not bad, and it has moments that are a lot of fun, especially the new beefy Batsuit, but it is just a little meh as well.
Where'd he go? Huh? The Bat. The partner. My partner?
In short, because you know this video is a big one, you may have dozed off for a minute there. Batman Arkham Origins is a good time. It does a lot really well, from the game's aesthetics and characters, the story having some of the best moments in the series, the gameplay feeling better than ever, and all in all, it's a game in this series that I don't think should be forgotten. It has its issues for sure, like some lousy assassins, predictable story twists, and an average DLC. But overall, if you skip this game, I'd recommend giving it a look. It isn't my favourite in the series, but by no means does that mean it's a bad game. It's actually really good, and worth a look for any fans of Batman. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been an undertaking of a video, but it was worth it. This game deserves to be remembered. If you enjoyed this video though, don't forget to leave it a like, comment below your thoughts or opinions on Batman Arkham Origins, and subscribe if you're new. I do videos on the regular. And next time we'll be going over the handheld game of the series, Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate, which I'm interested to see how it holds up, as I remember it was pretty enjoyable on the 3DS. If you want the best way to stay up to date with the channel, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MayorHairBear for gaming pickups, gaming opinions on new and old games, and what I'm working on for the channel. But I think I've gone on for just a bit too long, so I hope you guys are all having a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.